Do you think lions are scary? Wait until you find out about these monstrosities, from packs of hunting devils to birds that wreaked terror and giant dinosaurs that shook the earth. These animals would have wreaked havoc if they were alive today. Today, we will be discussing some of the most massive and scariest animals to have stepped foot on Earth. Rest assured, by the end, you will be glad that they do not exist anymore. So hang on tight and grab your bucket of popcorn. After the video, you will be grateful you were born in the right era. Let's get into it. Number 1. Titanoboa, the monstrous snake. When scientists unearthed the fossils of this snake, they couldn't move away from the site for days out of shock.
Many people cannot stand the image of a snake.
This animal is the Titanoboa, a snake as long as 45 feet and weighed over 2,000 pounds. Scientists estimate that its thickness was as big as a man's whole waist. The vertebrae of the Titanoboa are around 4 times the size of the vertebrae of the anaconda, the largest living snake today. This monster snake slithered quietly and lunged at the prey with full speed for a tight embrace that strangled the prey and left it out of breath. And its prey was not some ordinary fish. Its deadly embrace could bring down a giant turtle, a crocodile, or even a rhino. The snake was fully capable of crushing the bones to pieces once it strangled you. A force of about 400 psi while wrangling a prey is no joke. But the most astonishing find was its huge skull. Mostly the fossils of snakes do not leave a skull behind as it is delicate. The bones usually break. But the skull of the Titanoboa lay perfectly intact in shape underground when the scientists found it. This is certainly the king of snakes that no longer exists. Number 2. Arthropleura, the gigantic millipede. While a tiny millipede scares away a lot of people today, you would faint at the sight of this gigantic millipede that was here millions of years ago. You've seen the millipede now. Increase its size to a small-sized dog, and you would have an Arthropleura before you. It measured up to 20 inches and weighed over 100 pounds. Its weight was easily equal to that of a large-sized dog. This creepy crawly had more to it than just its size, though. It had segments and legs similar to the modern-day millipede, but its legs would have been visible from far. It could have had a fair brawl with a large amphibian back in the day. Although considered a herbivore, some scientists strongly believe that it ate more than just plants. The smaller invertebrates, like the amphibians, were often an unlucky target of these gigantic millipedes. I am so glad this thing went extinct. Number 3. Deinosuchus, the lurking crocodile. A Deinosuchus was a gigantic crocodile that was deadly enough to capture a dinosaur. The name roughly translates to the terrible crocodile, so you can imagine the wrath this animal must have back in the day. The crocodile measured up to 50 feet, although the fossils found are not very accurate. Scientists have been arguing over the actual size of the Deinosuchus, but it is safe to say it was well over 25 to 30 feet, and enough to scare you away in seconds. The scary thing about these crocodiles is that they were opportunistic predators. It would tear down any prey that comes near it, and they didn't show any mercy to dinosaurs either. The big ones could easily bring down a large dinosaur. The crocodile would lurk under the water, waiting for its prey to come near the shore. As soon as a poor victim would bow down to drink water, they would be met with the horrifying teeth of the Deinosuchus instead. With a big leap, the crocodile would bring its prey down under the water until it drowned. Then it would devour its meal in peace. Imagine early humans coming across this thing had it been alive then. Number 4. Megalodon, the largest fish. The biggest shark of the old days. This shark was the top predator of the ocean. You are not ready to hear its size. It was 3 times the size of the largest sharks that lurk in the ocean today. A shark alone is scary, but imagine one that is the size of a building. The big ones were well over 50 feet and weighed over 100,000 pounds. The megalodon's size was not the only scary thing in the ocean. Their ferocious hunting technique was enough to gobble down large predators of today. Their teeth were quite similar to the teeth of sharks of this era, but they were significantly larger and thicker. An average shark's tooth is about 2.5 inches long, but the megalodon had a piercing, sharp tooth nearly 7 inches long. If that isn't scary enough, it had a mouth as wide as 10 feet, and its jaw would open up to 3 feet. A bite that deadly would have left no victim safe. It is believed that the megalodon was so huge that it would have to eat about 2,500 pounds each day to survive. That's a lot of food. Talking about its diet, the megalodon would hunt down anything from a large whale, dolphins, seals, and even other smaller sharks. Now here is the twist. You see, a big part of the ocean remains unexplored. There are theories that the megalodon still exists in the far depths of the ocean, lurking for its next prey. But it is very unlikely that a shark as big as 50 feet goes by unnoticed for years. What do you think? Is it still alive today? Number 5. Arctodus, the deadly bear. Widely called the short-faced bear, the Arctodus was not as cute as it appears. Imagine a deadly bear standing 10 feet tall on its hind feet. You would freeze in fear. Although this bear was not as bulky as the bears of this era, it stood as high as 10 feet tall and weighed more than 1,000 to 2,000 pounds. Arctodus was called the short-faced bear because of its smaller snout. It also had a relatively shorter body as compared to its legs. But that doesn't mean it was not a deadly predator. There are many theories about its diet. Some of them suggest that it gobbled up small bears if such animals were nearby. Other theories claim that the bear was a scavenger. It would wait for the animals to die or be tired out of a brawl between each other and then find its way towards the carcass. However, there is a large number of scientists that believe that the Arctodus was an omnivore. Who knows the kinds of food it would eat when it got hungry, but it sure is a big bear. Number 6. Phorus racidae, the terror birds. The flightless birds seem quite harmless today, but this one rained so much havoc that it came to be known as the terror birds. The Phorus racidae were one of the deadliest predators and the largest flightless bird to roam Earth. They somewhat resemble dinosaurs, having short wings and fewer feathers on their bodies. The short wings were the reason that they couldn't take flight, but that doesn't mean they weren't ferocious. The wings had sharp claws that they used to pin down the helpless prey. Standing around 9 feet tall, they weighed around 2,000 pounds. But the terror bird's massive size didn't stop it from running at a rapid speed. Scientists believe that it ran faster than a modern-day horse. One glance and the prey and the giant terror birds came running at full speed towards them. When we talk about their deadly nature, the list runs long. From their sharp beak with a pointed hook to their long legs and sharp claws, they were an absolute menace. The axe-like beak had such a humongous force behind it that the tip of the beak would pin inside the flesh of the prey like a sword. Some scientists believe that the terror bird was a scavenger, while others believe that they were carnivorous animals that hunted down prey smaller than its size. Humans wouldn't have stood a chance against these deadly birds for sure. Number 7. Spinosaurus, the largest carnivorous dinosaur. Consider all carnivores and then imagine the deadliest one you can find today. This terrifying dinosaur would beat them all. This gigantic dinosaur was longer than a T-Rex, standing tall with a height of 50 feet and weighing nearly 5,000 pounds. Calling it massive is a mere understatement of its size. Its skull alone was 6 feet long. With a head like a crocodile and tiny arms, it is the typical picture of a dinosaur. But the most attractive yet intimidating feature of this dinosaur was its hump-like spine. Scientists argue over its use, but most of them agree that it was used for thermoregulation. Some even relate it to a peacock's train rattling. As for its diet, there is not a clear consensus. Some of the theories suggest that the Spinosaurus was aquatic and would put its huge snout to hunt fish from the water. But there are other widely accepted theories claiming that the dinosaur was a terrestrial carnivore. Whatever its diet may be, nobody would want to be in front of this monstrosity. Number 8. Smilodon, The large-toothed tiger, a massive carnivore with fangs more frightening than that of a vampire, was one of the deadliest predators to walk around 1,000,000 years ago. Despite it being called a tiger, Smilodon was nothing like one. It was more of a cat, but it probably does not sound as ferocious, unlike its very terrifying nature. So due to its huge fangs and hunting techniques, it was related a lot to a tiger. With a speed of 30 miles per hour, they would pounce on their prey with incredible prowess. Once the unfortunate victim was within range, the Smilodon would pounce and injure them with its huge fangs. Due to the loss of blood, the prey would ultimately die. Even though their fangs did serve as a weapon of strike, their use aside from that is still a big chunk of the puzzle. It may be unclear what the large fangs were used for, but it is no mystery that nobody would want to be on the wrong end of it.